So, welcome to this edition of Flat Rate World. And as you see, I am here by myself. My partner, Wes McDonald, has just absolutely abandoned me. Not really. He's busy working on a house project. And so I am hosting by myself today. To start with, as always, we appreciate comments and questions. So do me a favor, if you have a comment or question, put it in the appropriate spot on your whatever you're watching it, and we'll talk about it as it comes up. My first question for everybody is, where are you watching from today? That's always what I want to know, is where you're watching from. We get people from all over the world that watch the show. And in fact, last week I was in Mexico on the show. But you can see I'm no longer in Mexico. Now I'm on the deck of the SS Minnow, or in my home office in front of a screen. One or the other. You choose. But in today's episode, we're going to talk about some things that are kind of dear to my heart, and that is growing service revenue and profits. For those of you that don't know, I owned a dealership for a while, and then I sold the dealership and moved into service management, and I did that for a while for dealers, and then I did it for the manufacturers for almost 20 years. And I've always been a proponent of trying to find ways to improve profitability in service and improve profits. Now, the one thing that I am absolutely convinced is that if you really want to start to grow your business, both the scope of your business and its profitability, that flat rate is a hugely valuable tool for it. For most of us, trying to grow service revenue and profits when volumes are declining and the price per click is declining is very difficult. You know, we can only squeeze so much efficiency out of our technicians, and if you squeeze too far, it becomes counterproductive, and in fact starts to hurt your profit and your revenue. So we're going to talk about some things that we want to think about in the scope of a flat rate agreement that will help you build profitability for your dealership. And one of the first places I'm going to start is talking about that when you contract with a customer in a flat rate world or in a flat rate program, what you're really contracting for and the customer is buying from you is they're buying copies, they're buying the output and the feature set that they need. If you're doing this program right, if you're working through the process in the way that will bring you the most success, your customer doesn't own the equipment. You're not talking to them about speeds and feeds and models and brands. Because in reality, your customer doesn't care. They don't care what the label on the machine is. What they care about is that they get the output they want in the form that they want it, and that it's up and it works, and they can do it in a cost-effective manner. That's what they care about. But because of that, and because of the fact that what we're really doing is just selling them the output, it starts to open our doors and gives us the opportunity to take some steps that in the long term will really improve the profitability at no expense or no harm to the customer. And so one of the first things that I encourage dealers to do in the flat rate opportunity is to find my slide, my banner there, is to buy your customer's equipment. You're like, Ken, why would I want to buy my customer's equipment? Because you want to own it, you want to control it. Again, your customer doesn't care about owning it. And so in most cases, you can go in and acquire all their printers and all their devices. And what you can do once you own it is you can start to optimize the fleet. Now you say, well, but that's money out of my pocket. No, you just build it into the cost of the program. So in reality, all you're doing is you're giving your customer cash up front, and they're going to give it back to you. But because you own the equipment, you can start to do some things. And one of the first things that I'm a believer in is that you go through and you start to standardize the fleet. And when I say standardize the fleet, what you're looking to put in the customer's office are pieces of equipment that will help your profitability and meet your customer's needs. A lot of times, if you go in and look at the printer fleet a customer has, there may be 2 or 3 vendors in that printer fleet, and there may be 20 different models. And as you go in and examine the numbers on each of those models, what you'll typically find is some of them are cost effective and some of them are very much not cost effective. They have a high page cost, they have high maintenance. And what you want to try to do is start taking out the devices that are expensive to maintain and start finding replacements that, let's say that the replacements are less expensive in a page cost, the maintenance is easier, and to the extent possible, you want to standardize the equipment you service in the field with all of your customers into as few models as possible. Why, Ken? Why do I want as few models as possible? Because it reduces your training needs and it makes car stock simpler. Plus, the more your technicians work on any given model, the more efficient and more productive they'll be on that model. So if we take a customer that's got 3 manufacturers and 20 models, and we can consolidate that into 1 manufacturer and 4 or 5 models, preferably 4 or 5 models that use the same supplies, think about what that means is now your car stock is significantly improved, your training requirements down, your customer's life is better because they have a single print driver from a single manufacturer. So no matter what they print to, the features and the way it looks is going to be the same. And think about what it means from the supply standpoint. If you can stock at a customer site 1 type of cartridge or 2 types of cartridges instead of 15 different kinds, you tie up less capital in keeping supplies on hand. There's less chance that the customer is going to mess something up trying to put the wrong supply in the wrong device. And it just makes, again, everything becomes simpler and easier. It also opens up the and we're going to use the term utilizing gently loved equipment. That's West's turn of phrase. I like it. But basically what you can start to do is acquire the replacement devices in the used market. And again, it lets you find the models and select the models that work well that you want. And as you go through and start replacing it, you put in, used equipment. It's your equipment. You own it, so you can change it with what you want. And as you start to do that, you, again, start to take cost out of the maintenance. Because in a flat rate program, everything that's there basically equates to a cost for you. So the less expensive you can make it, the more you can take cost out of the supplies and take cost out of the maintenance, the more profitable the contract becomes for you. And again, like I said, it really improves efficiency and service. Your technicians become, it's just so much easier for them. And the common print driver is easier for the customer. So it's a win-win situation. Where you need A3 devices, it lets you go in and put in, let's say they might have 2 or 3 manufacturers in there. You can install the A3 devices that come from the manufacturer that again provides you with the best profit opportunity in that marketplace. And the other thing is you can right size the equipment. One of the huge costs that exists in equipment in our industry today really is the fact that equipment is oversold. That because of the way compensation works and trying to meet manufacturers' quotas, what happens is people tend to sell the largest device they can and not looking at the impact on the cost of service. When we did the analysis for the 10-day challenge we did, and we'll come back to the 10-day challenge and toward the end, but when we did the analysis, we looked at an A4 device and an A3 device in a low volume band. Now, the A3 device was 9 times as expensive per page as the A4 device was. You also find the same disparity when you look at putting a low volume machine into a band where it's fairly well utilized. Is the cost per page comes way down. Whereas if you put a higher volume machine in that band, what happens is the cost is so high that you don't make money on it. And I'll give you an example of this. When I was working for one of the manufacturers, I had a dealer that came back from the dealers meeting, got a deal on like, let's call it a demo pack, or a sales bundle of light color production machines. And they took those machines and they needed to sell them to meet floor plating. So they went out and they sold them into mom and pop operations. So these were 60 page a minute color devices running 3,000 to 5,000 pages a month. And very quickly, the dealer contacted me and said, "Hey, Ken, I need you to help me with this. We're not making any money on this equipment." And so I looked at the machines, I did some research, and I looked at the data. And I'm a huge fan, for those that don't know it, of BEI data, because you can see what's happening in the real world. And as I looked at all of the data that was available to me, I had to call him back and tell him this. I said, "You'll never make any money in that, and there is nothing I can do to help you." So imagine being in a situation where you've got this equipment out there, it's not running well, you're losing money on every copy, and you're tied to a 5-year lease. That's the worst of the scenarios. And in the flat rate program, you don't run into those challenges, because you're going to install the equipment that is going to operate the best in the volume that your customer needs, that meets their features, what they require. And it lets you then be as profitable as possible in the service side of the equation. I think that is so huge. And you think about, how many times do you give back to a leasing company equipment that's fine? And you could buy it out for next to nothing, but you already have a warehouse full of used equipment. Well, now you can start to find homes for that used equipment. In particular, homes for the pieces of equipment that will operate profitably for you. And it lets you recapture revenue from those devices that you would miss. It lets you continually expand your base without having to buy as much equipment. It really provides a plethora of advantages for you to take it to use. Now, so I said, I am, as you can see in this, and actually, hi, Dinesh from Abu Dhabi. Nice to have you with us. I just saw that. I'm sorry, wasn't paying attention to the comments, but it's very nice to have you with us for today. And Dinesh is watching on LinkedIn. Glad to have you. But the goal of all of this is to try to make every contract meet the customer's needs, take outstanding care of the customer, but at the same time generate as much profit for you in your business. Because I don't know about you, but most businesses I know are in the business to be profitable. And we let sometimes external forces dictate what we sell. And I understand you have a quota with your manufacturer. And that's why we encourage you to focus your sales force on finding net new customers, because that's how you grow. You want your sales guys out there hunting net new, and you want them servicing existing customers. But in reality, if you want to really drive profits, you let your service team and your service manager figure out what is the best equipment for the volume band, and to look at customers' locations and try to find ways to optimize that equipment. The things that you don't want, that aren't going to be profitable, wholesale them out. There's no sense in keeping them. But the result of this will make your dealership, make your company significantly more profitable. And it's not at the expense of the customer, because the customer's getting what they want, what they care about. Now, let me go back to my slides here. Should say my banners. So for those of you that didn't get a chance to hear this discussion, as Wes and I talked about it in the flat rate 10-day challenge, and you want to learn a lot more about flat rate and to find ways that perhaps you can make flat rate work for your dealership, but if nothing else, and I will say this, is for no other reason, if you're not interested in flat rate for yourself, you should be interested in learning how to sell against it. Because I can tell you this, flat rate's coming to your market. It's coming quickly, and it's going to impact you one way or the other. So I would encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to learn about it. Now, West is intent on depriving me of my vacation funds. He just wants to keep giving it away. Now, my idea was, and on the website, it's for sale for $239. But West, being the president of the MPSA and being a very benevolent individual, and I'm a little bit that way too. I'm not as good as West, though. Anyway, what West has done is we've agreed to give people that sign up to become MPSA members, they can get access to the challenge for free. So what that means is that you join MPSA for $250. You get the $239 access to and it's lifetime access to the challenge. You get that free. And there's 10 solid hours of content in there that we talked about marketing and back office and sales and service and leasing and all of the pieces that need to go together to make a flat rate program. You get all of that lifetime access for free if you join MPSA. Now, my preference is that if you decide not to join MPSA, you can go to the website and just subscribe, and it's $239, and I can take another trip somewhere. But we do encourage that. Like I said, we're huge fans. Both West and I are MPSA members. West is the president of MPSA. And really, that's an organization, and I'm a fan and a member of BTA as well, because the trade organizations are so helpful in helping you learn about your business, learn from others. West and I will both be at the BTA event in Asheville in October. If you're interested, you should make a trip down to see that. That's really nice. It's in Asheville, North Carolina. It's a great venue. It's kind of a little smaller event usually, but it's a really nice place to visit. So we'll be there to see you. I'm actually hosting a panel and giving a presentation. Wes giving a presentation. If you're not interested, and there's a couple of things, we'll encourage you to get flat rate certified. And West and I help dealers go through this process. We have a 10-step program that we walk dealers that are interested, that want some assistance. We help them get there faster and more efficiently. But you can do it on your own. One way or the other, we encourage you to get flat rate certified. So reach out, contact myself or contact West, put a comment in the description because we do check them. And we'll reach out to you and help you get flat rate certified. If you already have a flat rate program, you think that you're ready to be certified, there's a test and a small fee, and you'll be flat rate certified. If you want our help, we'll talk to you about the program and figure out what's the best way we can serve you and help you make the progress as quickly as possible. Appreciate everybody joining me today. This show will be a little bit on the short side because I talked fast, but I don't like to beat a dead horse either. If you have any questions, again, put them in the comments. We look forward to seeing you next week. West and I should be back next week together. I'm not going anywhere, and I think he'll have his project in hand by then. So we'll look forward to seeing you then. And again, don't forget, get flat rate certified, and we'll see you around the flat rate world.